A little girl hired a dangerous bodyguard to lead her to the mysterious wall hiding her deepest secret, and he staked his life on it. These events unfold in the 2024 film The Last Ronin, and right now, I'll give you a quick rundown of what happens. The world of the future has fallen into anarchy. A few powerful clans, led by extraordinary leaders, have managed to establish their own laws and restore currency, this time in the form of bullets. At the beginning of the film, we meet a silent and mysterious character whose face remains hidden. He silently walks through a barren wasteland toward a lone house. Inside, a strange man demands that he leave all his belongings at the door, except for his gun, which piques his interest. When the protagonist places severed fingers on the table, the man immediately recognizes them and realizes the danger he's in. But without hesitation, our hero offers to let him examine his firearm. After a few overconfident remarks, he seizes a stranger's gun, knocks him out, and begins searching the house, only to find a handful of so-called nines. As the man prepares to leave the house, he notices a little girl waiting outside. She had come looking for the now-dead guy. The protagonist tells her to leave immediately and warns her not to wander alone, explaining in simple terms that she could easily get robbed. But the girl is persistent. She pulls out a bullet, a 7.62 round, the most valuable currency in this wasteland, known as a 7. She makes an offer, 12 sevens in exchange for an escort to the massive wall in the distance. Seeing the deal is worth it, the man agrees, and they set off. Unbeknownst to them, a sniper watches from afar. As they travel, the girl reveals bits of her past. She and her mother once escaped their community, but at some point, her mother chose to return. The girl, however, decided to stay in the wasteland, believing it was the right choice for her. Along the way, the man notices a revolver strapped to her belt, an old but pristine firearm. She explains that it belonged to her father, and though it only has 3 bullets left, she keeps it close. Despite this, she still dreams of getting a new pair of shoes. The Ronin chuckles and offers her a trade secret. For just 1 7, she could buy an entire crate of 9s and still have enough left for several pairs of shoes. But the girl seems more interested in his rare, handcrafted .45 caliber gun. They arrive at a checkpoint where the girl hands him 5 more bullets, promising the remaining 6 once they reach their destination. But before they can move on, they are ambushed by a group of bandits. The Ronin takes them down effortlessly, except for one, a crossbowman who forces the girl to make a choice. With no other option, she pulls the trigger, firing her revolver straight into his forehead. As the dust settles, the Ronin kneels beside her, giving a simple yet brutal lesson. Never strike first. The ones who start fights don't live to finish them. He tells her that surviving in this world isn't about strength alone. It's about knowing how to negotiate, how to read people, and avoid unnecessary battles. But when he finally sees the body, his expression darkens. This wasn't just any bandit. It was the heir to a powerful clan. Now, they have no time to waste. The rest of the tribe will be coming for them. They take shelter under a bridge for the night. But at dawn, the girl wakes up to find the Ronin already deep in his morning training, his movements sharp, controlled, almost inhumanly precise. Curious, she starts rummaging through his belongings and discovers a worn-out book filled with handwritten notes and martial arts techniques. But before she can dig deeper, he notices and immediately shuts the book. His voice is calm but firm. Pack up, we're leaving, now! Because by this time, the bandits have already found their dead heir, and soon they'll be coming for revenge. Without another word, the Ronin and the girl make their way straight to the market. Before stepping into the market, the Ronin lays down the rules for the girl. No stealing, no talking to merchants unless you're buying. Stay close to me, listen only to me. But there's one more thing. She has to give him 1 bullet, despite having only 2 left. Inside the market, the girl notices something unusual. Each clan has its own guards posted around, keeping an eye on their people. The Ronin explains that the market is a neutral zone, where different clans trade raw materials they control for the resources they lack. The Ronin trades all the bullets he collected on the road for a military ration pack, a filled oil bottle, and a pair of new boots. But the merchant returns 3 bullets, claiming they're useless. With nothing left to offer, he sighs and rejects the new boots, preparing to leave. But then, the merchant's eyes narrow. He spotted something on the girl's face, a small brand on her cheek. His expression shifts instantly. Stay away from her, he warns the Ronin. She's an outlander. The Ronin doesn't respond. Later, as they rest at their camp, the Ronin finally opens up a little. He shows her his blade, his book, and his map, each one passed down from his father. The girl listens, intrigued, but before she can ask more, they set out the next morning. On their journey, they cross paths with a courier, a rare and dangerous profession, in this world. Couriers carry vital information between clans, always under the watchful eyes of trackers. Meanwhile, the bandit clan arrives at the market, interrogating merchants in search of the girl and the Ronin. They don't just want information, they want revenge. That night, as the Ronin sleeps at another campsite, something goes terribly wrong. A sudden blow to the head, darkness, silence. He wakes up restrained, surrounded by twisted figures in bloodstained robes. A group of people who believe in something monstrous, that consuming human flesh is not just survival, but salvation. The Ronin is moments away from being butchered, but he's not the kind of man to die easily. When the leader of the flesh cult learns about the Ronin's escape, he doesn't just let it go. Instead, he sends 3 of his men, but not before they consume hallucinogenic mushrooms harvested from the decayed bodies of their fallen brethren. Fueled by madness and bloodlust, they set off in pursuit. Meanwhile, the Ronin has freed girl and is working on untying another captive man. But when he tells the girl to release a second woman, she hesitates. That hesitation cost the woman her life. The crazed cultists burst out of the kitchen, attacking violently. The first victim is a tied-up woman, slaughtered before she can even scream. The Ronin eliminates one of the madmen, but the remaining 2, driven insane by the mushrooms, turn on each other in a frenzied fight. The Ronin finishes him off quickly before forcing the cult leader to show him the way out. "You are blind to the truth," the leader hisses. "You reject enlightenment." The Ronin ignores his words. They are not worth his time. But before leaving, the girl does something unexpected. She takes the boots off the dead woman's feet. They gather their belongings and continue the journey. On the road, the Ronin realizes they are being followed. Instead of running, he chooses a different strategy, makes them believe they have enough ammo for everyone, when in fact they don't. Their pursuers hesitate. That's all he needs. Under the cover of night, the Ronin leads the girl away while their enemies wait for the right moment to attack. The Ronin tells the girl to stay put until the moon is directly above her. "If I don't return, take my bag and follow the map. There will be people who can help you." He then heads to an abandoned factory, where he finds the Iron Guardians, strange, insect-like mechanical sentries known as fleas. Using his skills, the Ronin sneaks into one of the containers, searching for a weapon, and he finds it, an AK-47. He takes down one of the fleas, dodging its attacks before blasting it apart. But inside the container, he finds something even bigger, a heavy machine gun, with enough ammo to wipe out an army. This is his final play against the pursuers. Before he can put his plan into action, the Ronin does something unexpected. He gives the girl his book. But just as he does, 3 unknown figures step out of the darkness. "We'll take the girl to Wall. You Ronin stay behind." One of the fools tried to kill him to take the blade, but it didn't work out. Before leaving, the girl left her mother's necklace as a keepsake for him and walked away with the men. They took her to an unknown king, who called her Maria and made it clear that she was the next contender for his throne, and most likely, the last one. The Ronin arrived at the Clan of the Crosses and handed over the book that one of them had given him long ago. He demanded all their supplies in exchange of book and promised to give them his pistol after completing his mission, since throughout his wanderings, he had never been able to find ammunition for it. Meanwhile, Maria was clearly displeased that her father had branded her cheek with the words "daughter of a whore" to ensure she wouldn't leave, forcing her to stay and rule over everything that stood and moved within his domain. He put on a show, spilling the blood of his servant, and reveled in it. He promised his daughter a worthy way to kill her father, but only after she became the head of his army and learned to control people by his methods. Meanwhile, the Ronin had already gotten dangerously close and was infiltrating the depths of the stronghold. Eventually, the king welcomed him, just as the leader of the bandits closed in as well. The king proposes a true bloodbath, a brutal fight to determine who gets to take the girl. But there's a catch. All 3 of them will have to fight over a single golden dagger. In the end, the bandit is killed by the king, and the Ronin is wounded. Just as the king prepares to finish him off with his own sword, Maria unleashes a relentless burst from the machine gun, cutting her father down. With his death, she claims her place as queen. She pays the Ronin the final part of their deal as promised, and leaves him with parting words, that the world is built on pain and blood, and it's time for him to gather his strength and finally avenge his father's murder. The Ronin takes back his pistol and carries away the body of his rival, the one who had followed him to the very end, bringing him to a place where he can finally rest in peace. Meanwhile, Maria decides to burn the Ronin's book, not to dwell on his mistakes, but to write her own story. Support the channel with a like and a subscription. It means the world to us. And if you're interested, you can follow us on social media through the link in the description. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next recap.